Welcome everyone to our May Day celebration. May 1st is the day of international working class unity and struggle. It is a day when we stand up as workers together with Indigenous people, women, youth, seniors, and other sections of the people to defend our rights and the rights of all. It's a day when we celebrate our struggles and we strengthen our resolve to set our own agenda on the basis of who decides, we decide. The May Day Committee decided this year we would change things up a little, as I explained. So after the march, we'll have an open mic discussion where we can inform each other of the problems and concerns we're facing in our sectors and our workplaces, and about the work we are doing in our unions and other organizations to bring about the changes that will favor us. Present today are collectives of workers and people who are defending their rights as workers and defending the rights of all, who are resisting the attacks of the global corporate and financial elite, and who are working for peace and justice and to build the new. Postal workers, we have postal workers joining us today as well. They're helping with gathering the food, and others who are fighting against the tax on pensions and the right to live in security and retirement, as well as the tax on wages and benefits and the elimination of postal services and privatization. We also have federal government workers who are fighting for their rights and defending public services, including the closure of the Vegreville offices of the Immigration and Refugee Case Processing Center, the disaster of the Phoenix pay system, which has caused incredible hardship for tens of thousands of workers. We also have workers in the building trades, and we're very grateful to the iron workers for hosting us in their wonderful hall here. And we know that workers in the building trades are fighting union-busting laws such as double-breasting, which have reduced unionized workers to a minority in many trades. The result is unsafe workplaces and inhuman working conditions. We also salute migrant workers who are here and here to stay. We stand with them as they fight for their rights. We say good enough to work, good enough to stay, and status for all. This year, we have to pay particular attention to the fight of caregivers who are standing up to the assault of the Trudeau government, which is eliminating any chance for permanent residency status for caregivers who have not achieved the requirements come next November. So we can't allow this to pass. This is really the only federal seniors care and child care program that we have. It's got a lot of problems, but at least it provided a pathway to permanent residency, and now even that is being taken away. So we have to fight that. The deadline is coming up in November of 2019. And we also have, we stand for peace and for sovereignty of the countries who are fending off fierce attacks, including in Latin America, as well as in, sorry, I missed the second page there. We also stand with the injured workers. There's no justice for injured workers who were denied compensation in the past and who have been forced to live in poverty and pain. We also recognize the healthcare workers who are here today, who are facing crippling workloads, more and more injuries on the job. Ambulance workers who are represented by HSAA, who are speaking out in defense of public services and against crippling workloads, demanding that EMS be funded for the staff and ambulances needed to respond to emergencies. We also recognize the students and the education workers, faculty and staff who are rising up against the cuts being imposed by University of Alberta and standing for the right of access to education. We salute the Indigenous women, and we recognize that we're gathered here on Treaty 6 territory. I wanted to pass on our regrets from Dean Brown, who is the elder we had invited to open our march today. Unfortunately, he's very ill. He's in the hospital with pneumonia, so we can offer our thoughts and best wishes to Dean, and recognize that we are gathered here on Treaty 6 territory, and that we have to fight as one and in solidarity with the Indigenous people, and recognize in particular the fight of the Indigenous women who have worked very hard to force the government to establish a national inquiry into murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, and continue to fight to hold the state to account. Women everywhere are standing up and refusing to be fair game in their workplaces or anywhere else. And we salute the women who are at the forefront of working to bring about a new society where all rights are guaranteed. We also recognize that many workers are facing unemployment and precarious work. with an economy based on extracting and shipping out raw resources, economic insecurity, boom and bust are considered normal. Even though the economy is said to be recovering, big oil is still laying off workers and driving down wages. We're told there's no alternative, and that as producers of our wealth, don't we have the right to have to participate in decisions about how wealth is being produced and how it is consumed? This and many other questions is what we hope to continue talking about in our discussion following the march. Today we stand as one with workers all over the world and the people of the world who are defending their right to live in peace. We have contingents here from people defending their countries against U.S.-led war and aggression. In particular, we recognize the Korean people and their longing for peace and reunification on the Korean Peninsula. So we have to stand as one to prevent murderous sanctions and war against Korea. We also recognize the fight of the Syrian people and the Palestinian people in defense of their sovereignty and for peace in their lands. And of course in Latin America, where popular governments are under fierce attack by ruling elites and U.S.-led schemes for regime change. So today we stand as one in defense of the rights of all, and we will work together to build the new.